Hey everyone, Brian from Bear Bull Traders here. It is the weekend, February 26th, and this, of course, the weekend video. We'll take a look at what happened last week in the markets, and then we'll take a look ahead, see what we got coming up, some trading ideas. Apologies for getting this out a little bit late. I was down at the Money Show last week with Andrew. We were doing a presentation on how to trade options for a living, so that was a really good event. But anyway, let's get down to taking a look at what happened last week in the markets. Okay, and as we always do, let's start out by taking a look at what happened last week. Quick review. It was all about NVIDIA and their earnings that came out after the close on Wednesday, and they certainly did not disappoint the bulls. Continued to show strong growth, and Thursday, basically, the market just ripped higher with NVIDIA and dragging a lot of the tech-related stocks with it. Some did well, some not so much. Actually, it was kind of interesting. But in Dow and SPY hitting record highs, small caps continuing to struggle, lost a little ground this week, but made up some on Thursday and Friday. Anyway, the areas of strength and weakness, kind of interesting. Consumer staples, considered a safety trade. One of the biggest gainers on the week with basic materials. Energy, again, at the bottom of the list, although these, pretty much every sector was in the green, but energy and real estate sectors were the smallest gainers on the week. 2-year Treasury, up a little bit. 10-year Treasury, pretty much down a little bit, but you could call them flat because they really didn't move that much compared to what we've been seeing in the movements in the Treasury market. US dollar just down slightly. It's had a nice little bounce back. And Bitcoin down a little on the week, down around 51,500 from the high last week of 52.7. So that is your week in review. It was a crazy week with the NVIDIA earnings. All right, and before we continue on here, as always, I'd like to do a quick plug for my books on Amazon. There they are, How to Swing Trade, Profiting as an Active Trader, and my latest one, How to Trade Options. Of course, it was down in Las Vegas on Friday, doing a talk on trading options for a living. And good news for people that were waiting for the audio version of the How to Trade Options book. It was reviewed and approved on this week, Wednesday. So it is available in all formats, audio, and of course, hard copy or paper copy if you want to pick that up. But there's my books. They're all on Amazon and available for you to check out if you're interested. And now let's get down and look at some charts. Okay, let's start out by taking a look at what's going on with the markets. And if we go back to the treasuries here, let's take a look at the 2-year to start. You can see here we're kind of curling up, back up with the RSI kind of curling up here, gone through 50. Momentum slowly building to the upside, as you can see with all the indicators. I like to look at MACD and stochastics. So keep an eye on that 2-year. It's certainly it's going to be impacted by this CPI data PCE data that's coming out on Thursday before the market open. That's the Fed's inflation indicator. So keep an eye on this, and if it comes in strong, we'll probably see this pop up some more. The 10-year is kind of flattening out here. It's really momentum neither direction. You can see we're right around 50 on the RSI. MACD pretty much flatlining here. So yeah, again, keep an eye on that PCE data that comes out on Thursday. That'll have an impact on that. Pretty good day on the transports. We seem to be very much into sort of a trading range here. There's your low end, there's your high end, and we seem to be stuck in the middle, just consolidating along here. Same you can say on the weekly transports in a trading range and sort of consolidating. Probably expect that for some time. And the Dow, of course, we made a new high here. You can see we pushed up on Thursday with NVIDIA earnings, and then the Dow tried to keep going Friday, but eventually turned and came back down, pretty much closed out the day where it opened. So a bit of a reversing candle there, doji. So again, I think we've had such a big run up. I just don't see a continuation move. I see probably more of a consolidation after we've gotten NVIDIA out of the way here. And here's a weekly chart on the Dow. Again, really in sort of overbought conditions. Obviously can stay that way for weeks on end, but again, we're really kind of extended here and running out of sort of reasons to go higher at this point from what I can see, but I don't see, again, any reason we're going to be heading lower. So you can see here the Qs had a pretty rough first part of the week, and they really bounced back with NVIDIA news on Thursday. Sort of same story over and over again here. And then Friday we had an attempt to push higher, and then actually a reversal on the day and closed below Thursday's close. So a little bit of profit taking there, and you can see the volume pretty light on Friday as well. But again, we're kind of looking at, let's go back here, look at the daily. It's a bit of a double top here. Again, may have trouble finding a reason to go higher after we saw those earnings from NVIDIA. The SPY, again, pushed all-time high. Same story as the Dow, kind of tried to keep going Friday, couldn't do it, pulled back. And again, another nice move up on the week, but really getting quite extended here, and probably either due for a bit of a pullback or at least consolidation. IWM, again, this is the index that really keeps struggling here. We are still stuck in this range on a daily, and on the weekly, of course, this sort of 200 level, 202 level is really proving to be an area of resistance. But we are making a series of higher lows here. This was a low. This was a bit of a higher low. This pullback may be a higher low, and then we'll see if we can actually break out of this sort of 202, and then 205 is going to be the real test to see if we can break out of that level. The VIX, again, just really down in the dumps. The fear indicator, no fear in the market. And the dollar, pretty much we pulled back on the week, but still managed to end sort of flat on the week here overall with the dollar. And as far as Bitcoin goes, here's where we're trading at right now, somewhere around 51,400, and just basically consolidating after this big move up. Again, this is kind of what you'd expect after a big move, some consolidation. And that's it. Let's take a look at what we got on watch this week. Okay, so taking a look at what I'm watching this week, start out with Apple. You can see here Apple's really is struggling. I mean, it's really in an established downtrend here, and I think it actually this week it may come back down and test this 180 level again. Especially sold off pretty hard on Friday. Had a bit of a rally on Thursday with the rest of the market, but it wasn't a super great rally. Would have been a great place to short it there at 185. Unfortunately, I didn't. I was busy at a Las Vegas show. But it's looking like it's going to come down to 180, and there isn't a lot of volume if we drop below this 180 to 50 area. And you can see here we broke through the 200-day moving average, tried to rise above it, rally above it, and failed yet again. So again, Apple not looking very good. Momentum indicators all rolling over again. So I think it probably is more to the downside. Affirm's another one that's really teetering on the edge here. This 37 level, this is where there's been a lot of volume in this area. And you can see here, we don't have a lot of volume all the way down here. So I think if this continues to break down, there could be not a lot of resistance to, take it down to 30 or even further down in the long run. But again, momentum not great. Stochastics is looking a little oversold here, but again, it can always stay that way for a long time. So Affirm not looking very firm here. AMD, if you look at it, it went into a pennant. We had a bit of a ups and down. There was a lot of volatility. Again, this 185 level looks like a pretty solid level of resistance, and 165 looks like a pretty solid area of support. So we could be stuck in this range now that we've had some of the earnings catalysts out of the way here. Boeing, I continue to be short the 260 calls here. I sold my 240 calls. They were long. back here, and I'm glad I did, because they'd be really underwater right now. I think Boeing is going to have some problems for better part of the year here. Ethereum, I'm still long this. This is the Toronto Stock Exchange way to play Ethereum, and got it back here. As I mentioned in one of my weekly videos, I was looking at that for an entry on Monday, and that's actually when it really started to take off. Alphabet looks like a bit of a hot mess right now. I'm not really sure where it's going. But there's some areas where there's some resistance and probably some support. But I'm not really keen on trading this right now. Intel struggling. It sold off after on Nvidia. You can see Thursday here, it was actually down on the day. That's not a very good sign, especially when most of the tech sector was up. And it's just sitting below this big gap here. That's where resistance is right now. So Intel not looking very good, and kind of maybe stuck in a bit of a range here. Meta had a nice day on Thursday with NVIDIA earnings, and Meta's using a lot of AI, a lot of the NVIDIA chips in their offerings. So you can see here it did sort of the same thing the indexes did. Up on Thursday, sold off a little bit on Friday, but Meta still looking pretty strong, and a little bit overbought, but it can stay that way for a long time, because a lot of people think it's still pretty cheap on earnings. Liking this, I'm still long a bit of the mid cap sector, and they look like it's getting ready to break out here, so still long there. Roku, I sold some puts on Friday, 62s. It does look like we've had this massive drop, and kind of looking for a little bit of a bottom here, especially on Friday when the market's really kind of sold off a little bit after popping up. Roku managed to hold on to some gains here, so I'm hoping it actually holds this 62 level, so we'll be watching that. But right now I'm in a position, I'm long by shorting puts, so just hoping it'll stay above that 62 before the finish of the end of next week. SMCI, it's been a real wild ride. It may come back down. We'll see how the market opens on Monday, but it may come back down and fill this bit of a gap here after Thursday's big pop on the Nvidia and then Friday sell-off. So yeah, it's looking still a little bit overbought here, and could be putting in a double top or a lower high, however you want to read that there. But 1,000 looks like resistance right now. Tesla again, bit of a rough week. And I think it's kind of holding short of filling this gap here, and it actually might be sort of stuck in a range depending on what the markets do. So you can see here we didn't have a lot of movement on the week overall when you look at how it's traded over previous weeks and the range of price on the week. This was a pretty narrowly traded trading this week. So that's about it, everybody. Not a lot of new stuff, but because I was kind of tied up the end of this week here, but we'll see what happens with the markets and then of course PCE coming up on Thursday. Okay, so wrapping things up, what have we got to look forward to this week of February 26th? Here's your indexes, as I mentioned already. SPY and the Dow, new highs last week. So there's your support and resistance levels. As far as economic events go, the big one will be on Thursday. We've got the PCE price index. This is, of course, the Fed's favored indicator for inflation. So everybody will be watching that to see which direction it could be going. Hopefully cooling, but based on the last CPI data, we saw an uptick. So let people be pretty much focused on seeing what the PCE is telling us. And we do have some other stuff going on here during the week, durable good orders and some spending stuff. So keep an eye on those times if you're day trading. And as far as earnings go, we do have lots of earnings coming up that are still interesting. We've got Snow and AI, CRM, which will be in after the Wednesday, and Chinese stock. And then, of course, a consumer, Best Buy. So that'll be interesting as well to keep an eye on those stocks as they report earnings during the week here. So that's it, everybody. Have a great rest of the weekend, what's left of it. As I said, we had a good time in Las Vegas. We even had a bit of a meetup. A bunch of members showed up on Thursday night. We had drinks and appies with them. It was a great time. And of course, we did the presentation on Friday. And this, of course, is why I'm a little late getting this out, because I didn't get back till Saturday from Vegas. So that's it. Hopefully, we'll see you 8:30 or 8 o'clock as usual in our room on the BBT Community YouTube channel, and we'll be taking you through the pre-market show, and then, of course, trading the market open with our members at 9:30. Take care, everybody. Have a great rest of the weekend. What's left of it. Bye for now.